Welcome back, everybody, to Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Chat Network, your first stop for pop culture talk. I'm your host, Nico, and joining with me today, as always, my co-host, Chris. How's it going?
Hey, not too bad. How are you?
I'm good. I just chugged one of those cut waters before the recording.
Oh, no way. What do you have?
One of those cut water margaritas. That's very nice. It's a good way I'm finding to start off a pre-drink. Usually is just slam one or two of those down. You get a nice little buzz going.
Not ending up in the back of a cop car or anything like that, are you? Hear a lot of stories. I see a lot of stories on TikTok about, I had a couple of cut waters. I woke up in another country.
Yeah, well, they're new to me, but I gotta kind of calm down a bit, reel it back a little bit. I'm just discovering these after like hearing so much about them. So yeah, got to be careful. Yeah, like I said, I think the good approach to you can't just purely drink these. First of all, folks, if you're gonna go out and try these, in my opinion, they are potent. I mean, they're like 13% like liquor in a can, essentially. So I think it's like you can drink maybe one or two if you're just gonna have some beers. It gives you a nice little, little
start.
Exactly, so to speak. But yes, this is Comic Shop Talk, our weekly comic book review show. We're here to talk about comics first and foremost. But yeah, we still, have some drinks, we have some conversations, we get, sometimes we get into some comic book news here. We're gonna show off the art, we're gonna rate and review these things for you today. So yeah, it should be a good time. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You can check out our videos here in our playlist. What episode did I say this was? 192. So almost 200 episodes. Yeah, we're getting close there. So and stay tuned. Yeah, I think we're going to be talking about some Comic-Con stuff later on here today in the episodes, so should be interesting. Today we're going to be talking about the new comic books that come out for the week of August 13th, 2025. And spoiler warning, be forewarned, we are going to be getting into what happens in the books to enable to properly discuss them and show off the art. So if you're worried about getting spoiled, you can always read your books and then come back. All right, Chris.
All right, let's talk comics.
Talk some comics. Cheers. All right. First up on the docket here today, we got Predator Kills the Marvel Universe #1 from is your boy? I don't know if he's gained boy status yet.
No, not yet.
From Benjamin,
he's got a lot of work to overcome that. What was that Point Break homage in Wolverine?
That's right. Yeah, but yes,
that wasn't the first story I read from him or noticed that name. Then maybe, but
yeah,
he's coming along. These stories are.
Benjamin,
I'm surprised that these stories are all working together. Like there seems to be like a continuation from the Black Panther and Predator. They have the Spider-Man and Predators, a bit of a continuation of that story in here. I guess we're going to see Wolverine riding a killer whale or something in this one here, but there's no mention of that. But I just do like that continuity between these series, even though it's not much. But I guess in this one here, in that Spider-Man, Craven took off with the Predators, and I guess in the meantime, he sort of learned their ways and taught him the ways of Earth. And these Predators have realized that they want to take over Earth as their home. And Craven tells them, if you want to do it, then these are the people you got to kill, and he's going to help them out. And the first, I guess, Fantastic Four, they're hanging out on the moon, just, protecting Earth, I guess. And Predators go after them, and looks like they do a pretty good job at taking out at least two, well, almost three of them. So I'm looking forward to this. I thought it was good action. And like I said, that continuity between the previous series, I thought that was fun too.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the best part about this. I wasn't sure what direction he was going with this series when it was announced, because as we all know, he's done those three other, standalone series with different Marvel characters in the Predator. There was Spider-Man, Black Panther, and Wolverine. And they've all kind of differed for varying degrees of enjoyment, I would say, for us. But, it was kind of really cool. I thought like he brought everything here together, because I remember we just talked about the Spider-Man one, which just ended, I feel like a week or two ago. we talked about that one recently, and the ending of that with Kraven kind of joining them as like somebody that's like respected by the Predators as a hunter and all this kind of stuff. Like they allowed him to come with them, and then you catch back up with him in this. And we had said that at the end of talking about Spider-Man. I'm like, I wonder if he's going to continue this story of Kraven, and then there you go. In this one, he references it. He mentions the fact he's been like hunting with them for like I think like 6 months or something like that. There's like talk about him already having, going around with them and doing this kind of stuff. So I actually really enjoyed this. Listen, like I said, we're not sure if he's our boy yet, Benjamin Percy, because he's not firing on all cylinders all the time on every book. But once in a while, he delivers. Like this was a fun first issue. We'll see if he can sustain that, but the momentum that he's got with this first one. But I actually thought this was fun. I'm glad that he kind of referenced and brought all of those miniseries in together here, referencing it all. I wasn't sure if he was going to do that, but the fact that, they talk about they show the Weapon X Predator, which we thought was really stupid when we read it in the Wolverine series. They show they talk about their vibranium, I guess, armor of some sort that was like in the Black Panther one. I didn't end up reading that one, but then, and then they talk about like the fact that Kraven from the Spider-Man series is here. So like, I liked those, the fact that everything tied in together. And this was a fun start to, we'll see how far the Predators go here in terms of taking out characters in the Marvel universe. This is clearly an out of continuity story, so it doesn't matter. But in that sense, but those are usually the stuff that we kind of dig around here because they can get really fun and ridiculous sometimes as a result. And you gotta love when they bring up all the heroes and people up on a screen here. He's like, yeah, well, here's a bunch of people we can hunt. I'll give you all this information. Like Doom's on the screen and Spider-Man. You see all the, a lot of heavy hitters, let's say, that the Predators are going to have a field day with, it seems like, if they go to actually hunt all these people using Kraven's knowledge of this world, right? So, yeah, it's interesting stuff so far. What'd you give this?
I give it a 3.75.
I think that's right. Yeah. But you know what? Almost a 4 out of 5, honestly. I had fun. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Remember what happened to Reed Richards here? His arm got taken out here at the end. I forgot about that. Yeah. That's right. That's what they use, that vibranium. He had mentioned it must be something that's fused with like a vibranium element of some sort. The only thing that could cut through his skin, which I don't know. That's a bit of a stretch. I don't know if that's ever been established before.
Yeah. That's the only thing I don't like. They take out the Fantastic Four pretty easily.
Yes.
These are people that have stood up against, like universal level threats, and I didn't blink an eye.
If you're gonna go there though with this series, Predator versus the Marvel, you got to take out some heavy hitters. Like you know what I mean? I get it, but you got to kind of let your your disbelief kind of go there a little bit, right? So I don't know. I agree though. That was kind of. But I guess the key thing there was it's fused with alien technology of some sort, right? That's what he had mentioned. He's like, it must be some sort of vibranium fused with some sort of alien, so technology of some sort, right? Which is the Predator element, which is
Arnold Schwarzenegger could trick him with mud. I think Mr. Fantastic could come up with something.
That's a good point. I'm not going to argue it. You ugly son of a bitch. I love Predator, by the way. I on our movie show here on the channel, I'm surprised we haven't done Predator yet. Like, it's definitely in the list.
Why did you get back into that one? I'm sure there'd be some classic lines with Jesse and
oh yeah. No, we're still doing Late Night at the Movies. We just haven't actually done that movie yet. If anybody's gonna pick it, it'll probably be me, right? But same with T2. Yet to do that, and that's on the list as well, right? So there's a lot of things I eventually will talk about on there. So shout out to Late Night at the Movies. Check that show out as well, guys. But there you go. Predator Kills the Marvel Universe #1. Next up, we got Superman Kryptonite Spectrum #1. This is the new DC Black Label miniseries from the creators of Ice Cream Man, the writer and artist of that, which is a pretty popular image horror series of sorts. It's a weird, almost like it's all the same creators doing the stories, but it's like a horror kind of almost like Twilight Zone-esque, I would say, this series. It's pretty good. I really enjoy it. But what do you think of this, Chris?
Yeah, I don't know why this doesn't need to be no block label, first of all. And like, the art sort of grew on me. It's not my favorite art. The story, it's kind of hokey. I think they kind of play with, time and, whatever that purple kryptonite. It kind of distorts his time. So he's kind of skipping back and forth through time, trying to figure things out. Kind of interesting, but didn't really hit the mark for me.
Oh, that's too bad. I'm sorry to hear that. I quite enjoyed this, but I think this is I think it helps because I've read their other series that this felt like the same kind of approach they would take to the storytelling in the Ice Cream Man series, but instead they're doing it for a big two character, which I thought was interesting. And I agree with you on the art, but his art, again, it grew on me over time. I quite like his art now, but I don't know if this was the best. I don't know. I don't know if this is the best thing. Like, I feel like the Ice Cream Man series, he's done a better job on that so far. Maybe I don't know if it's just his first
Superman was
issue.
kind of dopey here.
His style, yeah, his style though might just not be for everybody. But or maybe this was just like a more detailed issue that he had to draw, or he's just, quite frankly, he's not really used to drawing a lot of these type of characters as well, right? Like Superman, Batman, because he did, he just did more of like independent comics so far. But no, I dug this simply for the fact that it was kind of fun to see the different. Basically, the setup for this is that he found all these new kryptonite pieces. They mentioned the 4 that are known to us, and then he found 4 other new kryptonite pieces in this, and he doesn't trust the fact, he doesn't want anybody else to get to them, so he kind of basically brings Batman in to help him test the kryptonite on himself, which is very dangerous. Like, it's mentioned in this how stupid of an idea this is, but yet he's like, it has to be done because this is the only way we can know and be ready for it if anybody actually comes to take this, because he doesn't feel right disposing of the kryptonite because this is part of, his home world and all this kind of stuff. And Batman, being Batman, strongly advises against all of this, but Superman's like, no, we got to do it, and you're the only person I trust to kind of help me do it. So, like, just the basic setup of that for a story I thought was interesting. And then I think it's only 4 issues, so either 4 or 5 issues. So it seems like every issue they're going to experiment with one of these kryptonites and see what it does to him, essentially. And yeah, I think you said it was the purple one in this one that they did, and the next issue is going to be this cobalt kryptonite, which is kind of like a blue silverish kind of color. And I guess we'll see what happens. But this one, basically, it distorts time. Like, it basically makes it so, like, he sees time differently and he jumps around in time. He sees things happen in the future before he actually gets to the future. But it gets all really messed up, and it's hard for him to actually, like, it seems like maneuver through this, I guess, because also this is his first time having to deal with it. So another thing in the Ice Cream Man series that they do in their stories is they're like the storytelling in it. They take all these interesting different storytelling approaches to the story, like the structure of it. And that's basically what it looks like they did in this story. So I think you'd have a bit bigger appreciation for it maybe if you had read some of the Ice Cream Man stuff, just because like this feels very much in that same vein of what they do on that series. But it's also, I get it. It's not for everybody. It's definitely not your normal big 2 storyline, the approach and the art style and everything else that they took here. So yeah, I would say though, if you're an Ice Cream Man fan, definitely check this out. I think it's worthwhile, but I guess we'll see what happens. I'll, or at least I will. If you didn't love this issue, I'll definitely talk about the next issue and talk about what happened with this other kryptonite color as we go on. But there's a whole page.
He wasn't all that great either. What, Superman just gets big, or everybody else gets small or something? Whoa, great.
There's an interesting page in this though where he kind of spreads everything out on like it shows all the different panels that you've got in all these scenes that he had in his head during the issue and how they were all basically jumbled out of place. And I guess the big thing that happened in there is that he saw some future moment where Lois Lane was essentially leaving him, like Clark Kent leaving Superman, like she's basically like, this isn't going to work out between us. And he kept kind of seeing this moment play out in his head. And he's like, yeah, I got a date with Lois tonight to Batman. And already at this point, this is after everything that went down with Solomon Grundy. He's kind of trying to figure, he finally is understanding how it works. And he's like, yeah, you could just tell. He's like, I'm not looking forward to this because I already know what's going to happen. She's going to break up with me kind of thing. Right. So, yeah, interesting stuff. I liked it. What'd you give this?
3.5.
I'll go 3.75, but again, verging on a 4 for me. I liked it. Bug Wars number 6, the finale of this first mini series, which we learn at the end. I guess they already got the next one lined up. What'd you think, Chris?
I thought it was a good ending to the series. I'm surprised that, like, when all those bugs were talking about trying to take out his brother, I'm like, how are they going to do that? But the book just starts out with him just getting freaking annihilated, like swarmed and in great detail what these bugs are doing to him. Like, the bugs are going in his mouth, up his ass, they're freaking doing everything to him. It's like, holy smokes. And then, then it goes back to the story of, I guess, Slade there trying to, I guess, save his brother or fight this war. And I guess he has some time with his dad there. And I don't know, they're kind of playing that his dad would kind of teach him how to do things if he would agree. And then when he says, oh, I can't do that, then his dad's on corner, I told you wouldn't do it, you can't have my son, and blah, blah, blah. That might be a little bit too much, but it was still, at least they didn't dwell on that too long. It might have been a page or so. And then just back into action with, I guess the kid gets a bit of a power up from his dad. He gets some armor, they try and explain what it is from what bugs, but that's besides the point. But he just gets powered up and he starts kicking ass. And then I guess Slade, or his brother's Sydney, I think is his name, right?
Yeah. I think
yeah,
so.
His brother's pretty much toasted. And then, he has to use, I guess, all his power to try and shock him or something. And then it looks like he sort of resigns to his fate that he's going to be stuck in the yard. And he was going to live his life with, I guess, his bug friends. And then out of the blue, he just grows up. That kind of hit me like out of nowhere. I thought they could use a little bit more explanation on how he kind of got back to his normal size. And I'm glad they spent enough time sort of on his life back when he did grow up there, what's going on with his family and his house and his brother. So I thought it was a satisfying end to this tale.
I agree. And I think they've established enough of a good base, like, start to the series. If they do want to revisit it in another mini series, I think coming back and doing like a series of mini series is the right approach to this series. Like, if they want to, instead of like making it an ongoing, I think it's kind of smart that they're going to do like a 6-issue mini, maybe come back next year, bring out another 6-issue mini. It seems like, so yeah, I think that's the right approach to this, but it seems like they've established a big enough thing with the bug world that, I think there's definitely more, more mileage here. Like, they can definitely tell.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So Mahmoud Asrar, I thought the art was great in this. And like you said, my favorite part about this is that they didn't hold back on the brother, because the brother was, hated the bug world. It caused all these issues for them during this series. And the fact that he got attacked like he did in this issue, it was warranted. I mean, listen, I get his brother was down there, he couldn't prevent everything from happening to him, right? He kind of came to his aid there at the end. He was like all pussy and gross and venomous with all the bugs as he's like healed over there. But yeah, there were some good moments, like you said. I mean, like they laid it on thick a bit with the dad stuff, but I get it. I mean, this is it makes sense, the kind of them being able to reunite in this, and the way that it all kind of came off. So I enjoyed it. I'll definitely read another mini series of this if it were to come out again. And shout out to Jason Aaron. Gotta say that. Make sure to say that, because I'll be seeing you soon, my friend, hopefully at a con. What'd you give this, Chris?
I think I'll give it a 4.
Yeah, I think if in comparison, I gave the last couple 3.75. I gotta give this a 4 out of 5. Yeah, stuck the landing. Overall, I think that's around the same range, I would say, this whole mini series. If you guys want to pick up collection, I definitely give this a solid 4 out of 5. This series, it was pretty good. It was better than I thought it was going to be, honestly. Like, even with Jason Aaron and Mahmoud Asrar involved, I was just like, yeah, I don't know if this whole bug wars, like, what this is going to be, but it's a pretty solid start, I would say. I'll definitely check out more. Actually, hold on. Did they show the art for that? There's definitely some art there at the end where it kind of announces. I think they're doing a one shot in the new year, and then I think I left the art up for that, and then they already announced the title, which smart on them. I think this is really smart of them to do. If you guys want to keep a series going and you know you have future plans for it, do this at the end of your issue, because there's so many of these series I see not do this kind of thing. And then you could like lose track. Like readers could be like, okay, yeah, I guess that's it. And then just never find out again that you guys did another series. Right. Yeah. So this is smart of them. So they mention what they're doing next here at the end. It says Bug Wars, the Spider Witch special, January 2026. It's like a one shot that's going to be coming out, it looks like. And then Bug Wars Book 2, the Fellowship of the, it seems like fucked up. It says there was a bunch of ants over it. The Fellowship of the Fucked Up is, if that's the name of this book, that's fucking awesome, first of all. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it, because so it just says coming in 2026. It doesn't have a date exactly yet for that, but that's how you kind of keep your readership going. I think that's really smart on their part, that they're like, we're not done. Make sure to check out for us next year, because I think not enough people do that. They'll just release a mini series. And we've talked about how many series here on the show. We're like, is that going to be it? Like, where Monsters Dwell. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It seems like there's going to be more, but then there's like no release, like there's no news about it. And then like a few months after that, it'll be like, oh yeah, I'm doing another one. Right. So I think it's just really smart. Even if it's like a note from the author, from the writer, put something at the end of the book where it's like, this isn't it. We'll be back. Right. So, you know, I guess it's hard to say depending on sales sometimes, if you know if you're actually going to be back or not, right? So, all right, next up we got X-Men 20, Chris.
Yeah, I just kind of was checking in on this series to see if I'm missing anything. You know, on the cover, sort of, oh, see what's happening. Cyclops, he's in jail there. And like the Cyclops sort of story, I think he's talking with one of the agents of the One. I don't know what that acronym stands for. It's like pretty much the government agents, and I guess they're upset. I think we must have missed some big battle with 3K and the X-Men, and I think one of the characters one of the first humans that turned into mutants that we saw in one of the earlier episodes or earlier issues. I think he kind of saved the day at the end, but then that revealed to the government agents that the X-Men knew of this 3K group more than I guess earlier than the government did, and they should have shared that information. So they kind of came to blows about that, and then a cop came in and he tased them both, and they're both kind of sitting in jail cells, you know, kind of back to back, and they kind of just talk to each other about what's going on. So that was a good storyline, and then the rest of it was just baloney. I think they're trying to put together the Marauder ship. I think what's that, Quentin Quire, he's got like the black box, and supposedly it's like some biomedical or bioengineered ship or steel ship, so they're getting up some pieces. I think Temper is talking about having some relationship with somebody in the Louisiana X-Men, and you're like, oh, does Scott know about this? Like, who cares? And something with Hank. I guess he was approached by the 3K group to join them, but he hasn't told Scott about it. You know, the other stuff was just okay, and you know, the art's fine for this, but once again, I don't think for some reason, it just doesn't suit the X-Men here. And, you know, it didn't really, I might read some more what's going on, because I think the new leader of the government agent is a mutant, and they didn't name him at the end. So maybe I'll see what's going on there. But then I'm wondering, after this Age of Revelation, if this X-Men is over too, and it's going to be replaced by whatever, the Astonishing X-Men or something like that.
It's very possible. Yeah. I mean, could be.
Yeah, I'd give it a 3.5.
Okay.
You know, if you've been following this, you know, I guess it just keeps the story going, but it's not a great story, at least in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know how I feel. We both fell off of it at the same time, right? After giving it. I mean, I'm sure given the fact that you read it this week is because it was such a small week, right? So, but yeah. Okay, next up, I got a couple here I read. Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion #3. Like I just said with you and the X-Men, the only reason I read this week is because it was a small week, or else I probably would have stopped reading this one like I had planned. This was definitely the weirdest of the issues and definitely my least favorite, because they actually bring in the Peach Momoko Ultimate X-Men characters into this one, which I thought was like very interesting because this whole time we feel like they're off in their corner. They're making no reference to these people, I felt like, and I never got that from any of the other Ultimates books. But here we are. You got Nico Minoru, of course, of the Runaways, who's one of the characters, I think, in her Ultimate X-Men. And then I forgot this other character that's like a Storm-like character that's not Storm. I forgot her name, but she's also one of these Ultimate X-Men's in the Peach Momoko book. So they both show up in this, and they basically cross paths with, again, this series is ridiculous. Like we talked about how they're crowbarring Miles into these situations and using this book as a vehicle to basically show you all the other characters in the newly established Ultimate Universe, which we don't even know if it's going to survive 2026. But that's basically what this book has been, right? So in this issue, these two are just walking, the characters from Ultimate X-Men by Peach Momoko, and all of a sudden they just run into Miles, and they mistaking each other for, Miles is like, what's up with these people? Maybe thinks they're bad guys, and then it's the classic hero attacks hero type scenario, and they're like, why are we attacking each other? I think we're both on the same side type of thing, and that's basically what happens. And then Miles ends up going back and like taking refuge in their home or something. Like he basically uses his like he uses his invisibility on them at first, and then he tries to use some of his other abilities that he has, and then basically what ends up happening is he ends up in like staying with them in one of their homes and hiding out for a bit, and he kind of gets into this whole talk about how he's disappointed in himself that he still hasn't been able to find his sister while he's been over here, and that's the only reason he's here, if you recall from the setup of this mini series. Then we hang out with Silver Samurai and check in on him for a little bit. Anyways, this is the problem though, and we had talked about this. These characters do not seem like they kind of fit into the grander, the bigger picture of the Ultimate Universe that they've established, at least to me, because that book's it is basically a horror manga, that Ultimate X-Men book by Peach Momoko, and it just felt weird having them appear in this issue. Also, what's weird is, again, Miles is here in this book, this mini series that seems like it's not gonna matter whatsoever, and it's just an excuse to show you all the different books of the Ultimate Universe using Miles, who used to be, part of the older Ultimate Universe. So I'll give this a 3.25 out of 5. Probably my least favorite issue of this mini series. I don't plan on reading it again, unless it's like a small week again, but maybe even verging on a 3, honestly. It just felt odd. And I'm just like, yeah, this is why we kind of have been saying it's, that Ultimate X-Men book shouldn't be a thing. It should have been its own book. Like they could have just given Peach Momoko the reins to do like a horror manga set in the Marvel universe. And like, I don't know why she was part of this whole Ultimate Universe idea to begin with. Just doesn't seem like it fits. Like the Ultimate Wolverine book, I think, is a better representation of like, these are the X-Men of this universe. I'm not even hating on that book because I heard people like that book that like that kind of stuff. I like horror manga. Maybe even I would like it if I stuck with it. But in the context of this universe, which again, I don't think it's going to matter soon because I think it's almost over, it just doesn't seem right. So
it shouldn't have been titled X-Men to begin with.
That's what I mean. It should have just been, even if it wasn't an Ultimate book, the fact that it's Ultimate X-Men and it barely has any X-Men that we know in it is also weird. Nico Minoru, who's in this, is a runaway, first of all. Like, she's not an X-Men. Like, there's another character in this, I guess, maybe is. I'm not sure, but anyways.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Giant Size X-Men number 2. And I did pre-order this cover, Chris. I didn't know. I forgot. I didn't see any other copies out there, my friend. I'm sorry about that, but it's something you'll be on the lookout now for, or I'll keep an eye out. But apparently I did pre-order this I guess after the first issue came out that I missed out on. And nice cover, nice magic cover, and that's mainly the reason I want to talk about this and show it off. This is it. I think there's only the 2 issues to this Giant Size X-Men thing. This basically ends the story that Kelly and Lansing there did with Adam Kubert. And the first issue is a Legion story, and this basically just wraps that up. She's kind of like dealing with something where she's seeing the older X-Men, the original X-Men team, and Legion's around, and she kind of has to rein Legion in because Legion's whole thing is a lot of times he loses control of his powers or he can't rein it in, and a bunch of stuff happens, and because he can alter reality and all this kind of stuff, whatever he does. So, anyways, that's pretty much the story. It wasn't that great. It was fine. I mean, I really had no interest in this. I read it just because I picked it up because of the cover, but I definitely like Andy Kubert more than I like Adam Kubert. I always mix them up, but Adam Kubert stuff's all right. I don't think he's aged great. I think I've enjoyed some of his stuff in the past more so than I do now. This issue looked fine. His layouts are weird and very of like the 90s a lot of the time. Like there's one where you're almost opening it you're opening like the comic sideways like it's a Playboy or something at one point. I'm just like I don't know. It works sometimes, but like this just doesn't feel like a special event of some sort where you got to give me a spread like that where I got to turn.
Yeah, if you're gonna have a fold out, that's got to be a good picture to.
Yeah.
Doc, you have to turn it over and open up to see it. If it's just a freaking regular panel, just big. What's that? That's a waste.
Yeah. So yeah, Kamala kind of has her time with the older X-Men team and is able to help rein Legion in. It's pretty much the story here. I give this again a 3.25. That's mostly because I didn't have much interest for it. I'm not a big fan, as we talk about here a lot of time, where they kind of go in the past and revisit these older stories that have already happened and kind of try to like look at them differently. And the whole fact that they're branding this as Giant Size X-Men and she's going back and visiting the old X-Men team with a modern character doesn't really work for me. So I give it a 3.25. Great cover though, by Ivan Talavera. So I'm happy I picked it up for that. And then finally, Magic number 8. I also, if you guys recall, we haven't been talking about this last couple of issues. I've dropped this and haven't been picking it up, but I did pre-order the J. Scott Campbell Magic cover for this one as well with these J. Scott Campbell month covers. So I picked that up. This is even better than some of the other phoned in Magic covers he did during this same run, honestly, just because, again, it kind of helps the image when you got the background image of the same thing there and the whole J. Scott Campbell collection type of thing on there. Yeah, these just look better. These have all been looking pretty solid. If you're a huge J. Scott Campbell fan, I'm sure there's a lot of good variants out there this month. Every week there's been like 4 or 5 of them by him, like in the same fashion where it shows like the same image in the background with the J. Scott Campbell collection thing there. So, yeah, let me just bring the art up on this one. This is okay. I mean, there's a reason I dropped the series. It just wasn't interesting me, this story. And then this is kind of in the middle of this next arc and possibly last arc. I don't know if this series is gonna go past 10, but I don't know. I didn't know it was gonna get to this point either. I really hated the artwork on this issue. Who's the artist on this? I've seen this artist somewhere else before, but it didn't look good here. Matt Horak. Yeah, it didn't look good here. I didn't like the art style whatsoever. Weird. Some facial weird stuff going on and like, I don't know. I'm sure he's more of an indie artist. I feel like I've seen his name somewhere before. Didn't really fit well here with this. And we're just basically in the middle of some sort of mission with what's this other New Mutant's name again? Her friend
Moonstar?
Yes, Danny Moonstar. Thank you. I read the issue, I think, where this got set up initially. Yeah. So Danny Moonstar and her basically are out on, on some sort of mission of some sort and helping another person, I guess, like a mutant. That's kind of a lot of the X-Men books right now, is helping fellow mutants or people in need of it. And that's kind of what this was essentially. And, it's also them coming to terms with where they're at in their friendship currently. Because they, weren't on the best of terms, I'll say, like going into this. But of course, they have so much history with each other and good friends and love each other that it came back around by the end of this. So, yeah, I mean, I give this also like a 3.25. Again, also based on interest, but I also really dislike the art on this one. So, not a lot of great ratings on this small week here. But again, another good cover. All right, Chris, Fantastic Four number 2.
Now we're getting to some good stuff here.
Yes.
In the last issue, it looked like Sue Storm was like way in the future on a dying world, and I can't believe I forgot the name of that whatever that stone there.
Forever Stone.
Yeah, the Forever Stone. That was supposed to lead her lead her back to the whole team. And I guess here, you kind of, it's almost like a Doctor Who type of story here, it seems. She figures, oh, if trying to kind of backtrack on what Reed would do. He goes, oh, if Reed knew I was lost here, he'd be doing something. And then you do see Reed doing something crazy. He just seemed like turning into roots or something, just really stretching thin, but you don't know what he's up to. And then I guess Star, what's her name? The Invisitor, Sue Storm. She figures out what he might be trying to do, and then I guess she makes the top, whatever, layers of the earth disappear. And what Reed was doing is putting diamonds, kind of pointing a path to, I guess, was it to the Forever Stone? I forget what it led to, but
yeah, to the Forever Stone, because she's the last one to actually inscribe where she was on time in the stone. Everybody else,
and then how that Forever Stone worked, what it puts into some pocket dimension, a time machine, and she goes back to get everybody. And then they surprise Doom, and you think they got the upper hand on Doom. But it seems that Doom has been freaking playing them the whole time. He's got some sort of time machine. So every time, that he does something and they beat him, he just resets time. Or I guess with magic or something, with his time stone, he just resets it to right before he gets defeated. And he knows how they're going to defeat him. Then he tries something else. And then they sort of outsmart that ploy again. So I thought it was really, it was a fun read. Like interesting read. It was kind of very science fiction-y. But it wasn't too crazy. It sort of, it made comic book sense, let's say.
Yeah, I thought this was excellent. Yeah, to your point there, it definitely did. And Ryan North just has such a good handle on these characters. And I love how he does these like 1 or 2 issue arcs with these stories where they come up with some sort of science explanation. Like it really truly does feel like a Fantastic Four book. He just has a really good voice for these characters and the way that these stories should be told and the way that they find their way out of these jams that they get stuck in. This was just really, really interesting. Didn't know how she was going to pull it off. She pulls it off. And and I love that. What's his name here? Humberto Ramos now is the artist on this new relaunch, which I think helps as well with the last 2 issues. Just really great stuff. With the Doom tie-in too, like you said, how he kept screwing them over with basically they've replayed this same scenario so many times, and by the end of this he brings them back to a place once again where they're gonna have to figure their way out of this. I love these stories that he does. I mean, like, and then the greatest thing about them is like if you're not a particular fan of the one he's telling at the moment, with an issue or 2, we're not stuck with them over 6 issues for an arc. We're just on to the next one after that. So like this one has been very strong, I think, for the start of the relaunch of this series. It's a really cool idea with them all lost throughout time and having to come back together. I agree with you. Good fun stuff. Really fun. What'd you give this, Chris?
I might give this one a 4. I really enjoyed this one.
Man, I go even as far as a 4.25. I thought the wrap up was better even than the first introductory issue for this one. So yeah, 4.25 out of 5 for me. Good stuff. Next up, we got Trinity, Daughter of Wonder Woman #3.
Yep, keep the hits rolling. Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk it? I can't believe I enjoyed this issue so much. Yeah. This was funny. Like I have a feeling like this is what they want Harley Quinn to be like. It's almost the same kind of humor as Harley Quinn, but for whatever reason, this works here. I'm trying to think what this works here because these are all young kids, a middle age, whatever, a tweener, and an older teenager, and they're just getting up to shenanigans. They're messing up. They're making mistakes, and just the mistakes they make. It's just so much fun there. I think they're trying to save the corgi, and the first time, Wonder Woman gets swallowed up. Like I have to relook at what Wonder Woman got eaten, and then then she goes, and every time she goes back in time to try and fix her mistake, and it's not once or twice. It's like a freaking million times. And then with the Steve Trevor comes in, you get the nice emotional meeting between them, and then she freaking knocks them out. You see, like and then she's explaining it, I guess, to her sisters. They're all freaking out. It's like, oh, how do I grow up into you? I can't say enough good things about this one. And the story just keeps on going and going. I guess finally she finds a way to save both Wonder Woman and the dog, and then the story goes from there. I hear a lot of hate on this, but I don't know. I think the art's great for this comic, and it's a fun story.
Yeah, I agree. The Belen Ortega art is really good. She's been doing a lot of backup stuff for Tom King. I think even his in other series that he had done, I feel like she's appeared other than this. No, maybe I think she was doing backups during Zdarsky's Batman. Anyway, she's appeared other places before this, but and she of course did the Trinity backups in that as well. But yeah, Trinity backups showed up in Wonder Woman, I guess, right? Yeah, maybe she just was doing backups before that with Tom King and Wonder Woman. I thought she appeared in Batman as well. But yeah, I agree with you. This is a fun series. I wasn't sure about this. Also the backup stories were cute and all, and they were well done as well, but they just didn't have the depth to the ongoing storyline, obviously, that you're going to get from the ongoing miniseries or series or whatever this is slated to be. I'm not even sure. But that being said, yeah, this was a surprise. I agree. It's a lot of fun talking about a lot of time travel manipulation type stuff. There's a lot of that going on in this issue this week as well. There's a few issues of things this week we're talking about that has that going on for it. But because of the different varying ages of the of Trinity in this, it also brings a really fun element to it in that sense. I'm a sucker for that time travel type of story type stuff when it works, right? And it's just, yeah, the tone is great for this. It's funny, and like you said, good art. Honestly, yeah, I have no complaints either. I don't know who these people are you're talking about that are talking crap about this book, but listen, I think they're wrong. This is a surprise. I agree with you. I didn't even read the first issue. I think you did because I was doubtful on it. And then I went back and read it, and I agree. This has been a fun series. So good stuff. What'd you give this?
I'll give it a 4.25.
Wow. That's even more than
when I read this, I don't find comics funny, haha. This was almost a funny haha comic.
Yeah, Tom King actually is delivering in that sense on this, which is a surprise because I wouldn't peg him as that type of writer. Like every now and then he'll put out something funny, it seems like, but I just don't think he uses those muscles as much as maybe he should be doing that more, because I think this is like a Tom King I haven't really seen before in this series that they've done, right? So yeah, I'll give it a 4 out of 5 as well. I do think it was a really good issue, but yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it so much, man. That's great. Next up, we got Transformers number 23.
Oof, here we go. Another banger. Things are coming to a head here.
Yeah, second last issue of the DWJ run here. So what'd you think of this?
Yeah, it looks like freaking two tribes are going to war, and I guess the battle's coming to I don't want to say to an end, but I think is 24 the final episode for
DWJ? Yeah.
I thought this one was the end. I thought 24 was starting the new one, but I guess it's 25. But yeah, I can't say anything I'm wrong here. We got Prime kind of roaming through his power matrix, and everybody else is all out there, trying to hold the line as the whatever the Decepticons are kind of moving in on them. But still, that relationship between Megatron and Starscream is a bit much when you're in war. This guy's like, I know he's kind of stepping out of line to try and, kill Optimus Prime or go ahead and do things, and then he just gets smacked right down. I enjoyed it better when Starscream was like that one issue where you kind of get the history of Starscream. I really got a feel for the guy, or for that robot, let's say, and now he's back to sort of that sniveling, kind of second in command, just getting beat up all the time. So hopefully he's got some sort of redemption arc coming down the road for him, where he can kind of get at least get a one-up on Megatron once in a while. But otherwise, everything else is all great here. I want to see how this battle ends.
Great issue. Things are really coming to an end here, to a head, sorry, and an end for this run for DWJ. I think this just like pacing of this was really well done, because no matter what happens at the end of next issue, like they've really put us in a great position for DWJ to end his run on. And then I guess we'll see what Robert Kirkman brings to it. But this final showdown between him and Optimus, it literally has to always all lead to that at the end of the day. And he really took his sweet time with introducing Optimus into this, into his run, really only introducing him into this last arc here. And I think that's a smart move, honestly, because like he got to be, like you said, he built up Starscream. He kind of got shunted off to the side a little bit here in this issue, but that's because, you know, Optimus is back, and this is, you know, it's the eternal fight between Optimus and sorry, not Optimus, sorry, I keep saying Optimus. I'm talking about what's his name? What?
Megatron.
Yeah, Megatron. So everything I said Optimus about there, like Megatron is what I meant. Megatron, like he was not in this series at all. And now that Megatron's back, he basically got rid of Starscream, and it's Megatron and Optimus fighting it out here at the end. So really great stuff. I really liked how it led up to that moment here with them about to go, you know, toe to toe here at the end of this issue. How he restructured his arm, how Megatron took that arm cannon thing that he had on his arm off.
Toe to toe here.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, like, and then just the fact that they're just like, let's throw down here. Like, I'm just like, yeah, this is obviously, we know DWJ is a fan of wrestling, but let's just say this felt very much like that, like almost like a wrestling throwdown of sorts, a Royal Rumble of Transformers, you know, at the end of the day here, at the end of his run. So great stuff. I really enjoyed this issue. I was like, I'm just glad he's not going out on a whimper. It seems like Steve WG was like, yeah, he's like, my time is here is done, but I'm gonna give you guys something to look forward to on that last issue, and that's the Megatron versus Optimus here. So good stuff. What'd you give this?
Ooh, I'm giving it a 4.25.
Yes, same. Verging on 4.5 for me this week, honestly, but 4.25 out of 5. Yeah, good issue. Next up, we got Spider-Man and Wolverine #4.
Took a look at this one here. Unfortunately, I didn't get my copy. I'll try and track that down somewhere. I was sort of upset to see that it wasn't a Carrie Andrews artist, but I forget who it was there. But he's you know, he filled the shoes very well.
Gerardo Sandoval, yeah, is the artist on this one. Yeah,
I think I've heard that name before. We've
read stuff by him. Yep.
Yeah, he's no bottom feeder either. So I'm glad they replaced him with a good artist.
Bottom feeder. I like that. He's no bottom feeder.
Once again, this story is just utter. It is just baloney. I know who's writing. I don't want to say bad things about this writer. The only good thing this writer is doing, he's giving these artists a chance to do whatever they want. And once again, you got Wolverine here, freaking once he goes into his berserker rage. Like, I don't know if I can get tired of this, but you know, I missed it last issue and the issue before. We had Carrie Andrews, you know, letting Wolverine and Spider-Man freaking just duke it out. Here you got Wolverine going on a berserker rage, and it was fun to watch. You know, I guess Spider-Man, I guess, kind of doing some sciencey stuff. That was fun to watch him break into the Fantastic Four. But this stuff with his sister, Teresa Parker's involved. Where is this? This is coming out of left field. You know, I imagine there's a whole storyline that, you know, that's sort of been forgotten or sort of written out of canon. But I guess it's back now somehow. And whatever, I don't care. I'll let it ride. I'll just read it for the fun and enjoy the art.
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. There is older storylines with his sister, and I think originally what they said at the start of this miniseries is that this was more so based on like a sequel of sorts, or retelling to the one-shot Spider-Man versus Wolverine, or Spider-Man and Wolverine issue that they did. I think it was in the 80s, and I think there was reference to his sister even in that one, if I'm not mistaken, or she was in it. It's definitely of a period of time that they're pulling from this stuff. So I will say, like, it's not like totally out of left field, but it is in the sense that, again, this is them just mining older stories for ideas. But I think this is I think the main setup for this is based off of that Spider-Man and Wolverine one shot that they did. I think it's like in the 80s or early 90s. I think it's late 80s. I have it. I have the issue.
Yeah, I remember buying that when it came out. It was good.
Yeah, you know that cover where they're fighting in the graveyard on the cover. Yeah, it's a classic. Like, that's what I think this is basically. They're just going from that, right? But I agree with you. Gerardo Sandoval looked good in this issue. I was disappointed it wasn't Carrie Andrews. I don't think he is actually doing the rest of this arc even. I think it's the next couple of issues are also this artist. But, you know, it's not the worst. We could have done a lot worse. I think he definitely brings some sort of the same energy, I would say, to his art. Like, it's very big and bombastic and like stylistic in a way that we don't really see in current day artists, like 90s style or whatever, however you want to put it, right? So it's you know, it's, I'm not mad at it, but I am upset because it isn't Carrie Andrews, I will say, still, because Carrie Andrews is just like was just killing it for those first 3 issues, and then, you know, you got to bring in this you know, but like, you know, look at that. Like, look at the stats of Wolverine there. I can't be mad at that. The last page, especially. Where's this? Hold on. Check this out. I mean, listen, that's an awesome page. Like, that's, I can't be mad.
In a crazy Wolverine.
Yeah, like he's getting shot in the chest in this thing. You got a fucking up like splash page of him. You know, it's good stuff. It's definitely in the same vein, I'll say, of what Carrie Andrews is bringing. So, what'd you give this?
I got a 3.75.
Yeah, same. And then lastly, we got the Ultimates number 15, Chris.
Yeah, I don't know. I know what this whole Ultimates series, even this Ultimate Universe, it's like, in my eyes, it's living on the strength of the Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
You know, I was enjoying this Ultimates in the beginning when it just seemed, you know, like, you know, they're getting this ultimate team together, you know, like almost like the Avengers. But now this is just more and more, it's reminding me of the Avengers Forever, where every issue is just going to be, you know, introducing either a new villain or a new hero. And really one issue doesn't have anything to do with the other. And like, you know, this trend is going on. And like I said, I think they're just setting up all the pieces for the final battle, which, you know, who cares? Like, you know, you're spending a lot of time. You know, if they just went to this final battle and you brought in all these people and go, oh, this is Ultimate, whatever, I'm sure that'd be enough explanation. I don't need a whole issue of who's this Iron Fist. Yeah, you know, like, I didn't mind the story of the ancient Iron Fist. That's okay, but enough. And then now this new Iron Fist is just a child and they're trying to protect him or something. Yeah, been there, done that. I've seen the story before.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like Iron Fist, but this is very similar and in the same vein of like you said, like with all the ancients and the fact that like there's other Iron Fists and all that. That whole explanation at the start of the issue where they're talking about all the history, I thought that part was quite good. But then when they actually set into the actual story and they're there on some mission, and you got Iron Fist there, Danny Rand, who's not even really Iron Fist yet, and he was just like in the jail that they basically let everybody out of, all those prisoners that were with Luke Cage, and he's like, I'm just here. He's like, I just feel like I gotta be here, and I'm just like, crazy. I was like, what? I was like, why are you there then? Like, we're kind of stupid. Like, oh yeah, fate has brought us all together here, and then there's the whole thing with the other Hulk stuff going on in this. Yeah, it lost me the rest of the issue. It started off really strong though. I was like, all that Iron Fist kind of ancient history stuff, like it did feel like Iron Fist comics I've read, and I was like, okay, this is really cool. But then when they kind of brought us to like the current storyline that's happening with them just kind of going from place to place collecting people like Pokemon or
pretty much that's what it is.
I'm just like, you know what, it's just such a shame. And I mean, I feel like we've said this before. I would say the last couple of issues have been better than maybe the few prior to, but even so, this has fallen from grace in terms of like, and I didn't pick this up again. I'm done with this. But
I've seen this story before and I've seen people do it better.
Yeah, they did not deliver on the promise. The writer or the artist involved here in this series did not deliver on the promise, I felt like, of the start of the first like 6 to 12 issues of this series, because I kept saying, like, it felt like Hickman, like, in terms of story structure, like the approach they took, like it felt like the Hickman Avengers, like very much so. I don't know if he helped out with that first bit. Maybe he was like a ghostwriter of sorts. I don't know. I said it's like Hickman light-esque, but then like it's totally abandoned that. And I feel like the last few issues or whatever is going to bring it back and try to introduce the Maker here. But this whole like in the wild moment where they're just like collecting members for this team is so crappy, like in comparison. Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah. Not enjoying this at all in that sense. So, anyways, what'd you give this?
Yeah, 3.25.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I almost, again, I've said this for a lot of 3.25s. I can go as low as 3 on this, but I'm being, generous, I guess, on this small week of comic. Anyways, speaking of this week of comics, that's everything we really want to talk about this week. Not the best one, if we're being honest, but that's okay. There's always next week. All right, Chris, what are you looking forward to checking out next week, which is, I guess, the 20th of August?
Yep, let's see what's going on here. So let's see what we got for Marvel. Yeah, so it's August 20th. Oh, Amazing Spider-Man 10. Hopefully that's turning the page. Otherwise, it looks like I just might be reading stuff. Oh, Black Cat #1. I hope I get it. I don't think I will. Oh, and did Imperial #3 come out this week? Because I saw it on my list, but I didn't see it out there anywhere.
No, it didn't come out.
Yeah, so hopefully next week. I don't know. Maybe I'll check in on the Avengers, but I've been too keen on them.
No.
I hope this Black Cat is good too, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Let's see. Was DC got anything going on next week?
Absolute Batman.
Got Absolute Batman? I don't see it out there. I see Flash. Absolute Flash is out. Wonder Woman 24. With that Mouse Man or whatever. I thought that last issue was pretty good. See if they can keep that momentum going.
Yeah.
That looks like that's it for this can. Maybe this my whatever. Where I'm checking these comics must be wrong.
I think it is. I was just about to say, I'll have to send you a link to the new site I'm looking at because of the fact that Diamond now is like disbanded. It's like it's screwing up a lot of shipping list websites now as a result. So yeah, I feel like the new one I'm using is pretty good, but I'll have to send that to you. So at least but it's hard to say. So guys, this could change.
Yeah.
What we were talking about. You could say that in general right now, but
yeah, G.I. Joe 10 for Image and Battle Beast.
Yeah.
Drawing Blood. Oh, I feel like we haven't talked about that one in a long time.
And you've brought it up as possibly coming out for like I feel like a few weeks now. It just it keeps getting delayed. Sometimes it's just on them too. Yeah. So but yeah, DC, I have Absolute Batman 11. I also have Absolute Flash #6. I feel like this happens every freaking year. The year that we got a con, it's like a huge week of comics, so that's great. Post con, I gotta read like fucking 20. Batman and Robin Year 1 #10. What else I got here? Batman Superman World's Finest 42. Detective Comics 1100 comes out.
Oh yeah, fuck! I hope I get that. I got the Frank Miller cover for that. I think.
Oh, do you? Nice. I don't even know if I've seen that one. I don't know. Superman Limited 4 comes out. I might be done with that. We'll see. That's like a game time decision. Wonder Woman 24. Again, these are things. Some things I'm reading digitally. Some things I'm picking up. But just because of the structure of the list here, I'm just rambling off titles for you guys here. Yeah. Oh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Journeys #1 comes out. I think this is like them reprinting some older series that never was finished and they're going to finish it this time around or something. So I pre-ordered this first issue. I'm going to see what that's all about. That seems interesting. So Drawing Blood is on the list here. So this is the first time I've seen it on the list after like the times you've mentioned it. So maybe #8 is finally coming out. Speaking of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Kevin Eastman's Drawing Blood #8. Maybe that comes out. Oh, big release. I think you missed this one, Chris. Escape #1, the new Rick Remender, Daniel Acuna book comes out next week as well. I'm definitely going to check that out. I think I've pre-ordered that. Exquisite Corpses number 4,
Okay.
GI Joe 10. Yeah, it's huge week. Hyde Street 8. If this is correct, it's a big week. Battle Beast number 4, season 7. Holy crap. A lot of good stuff coming out. This ends tonight, which is that Jay Lee miniseries with Jerry Duggan, which I didn't love the first issue, but I think I have that pre-ordered. And then Marvel, we got the trade paperback of Aliens versus Avengers comes out for anybody that missed that. That's definitely worth picking up. I just figured I'd mention that. Amazing Spider-Man 10, Black Cat 1. Oh, it actually says 1 of 5 now too, Chris, on this on the solicits.
Oh, for Black Cat?
Yeah, looks like it's a
Okay,
5-issue miniseries. Okay.
Now I don't mind jumping in if it's only a 5-issue.
Yeah, that wasn't established before, but yeah, now they're saying it. I might read Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe digitally. I don't know. We'll see. The first issue wasn't all that. This week, I have Imperial 3 coming out next week.
Okay.
Marvel All on One, number 1, which is a thing fighting basically a bunch of people drawn by Ed McGuinness, comes out next week. So that's
I think I remember hearing about that.
Yeah. Instead of like Marvel 2 in 1, it's Marvel All on One, and it's Ed McGuinness drawing it, so it's definitely worth checking out just for that. New Avengers 3 comes out. That's been fun. Yeah, man, it's a big week. Yeah, I think that's about it. Wolverine 12, is it about his mother in that one now? Wolverine, is that like they're gonna talk about his mother before they introduce the Wendigo again as a Wolverine? Okay, so that's what we're reading next week. But I quickly wanted to talk about Fan Expo is the Toronto con. That's our local Comic Con that's going on next week, and we're both planning on attending that. So, Chris, as I mentioned on last episode, is your first con experience last year. Is there any tips or tricks you want to kind of put out to people that maybe have not been to a con before that you want to mention, or what to expect, or what you're looking forward to even at this con? Anything you want to talk about in terms of con stuff? And then maybe next episode we can, if we got some hauls of stuff, we can show them off. So I hope to maybe get some art and or comics at the con as always. So maybe we'll be able to show that off next episode. But anything you want to say about Comic Cons in general, Chris, after attending?
Yeah, they're a fun time. It was a fun time to go there. You know, there's a lot of stuff around there. You know, it's good to go there. The game plan, if you are looking for something in particular, hopefully you can find it. It's always nice to see stuff that's kind of related, comic adjacent, let's say, you know, not actual comics, but other stuff, things I missed there. Like, I wish they had more t-shirts and you know, kind of apparel. Like, I didn't really seem to see anything good there that might have been like, you know, actual Marvel shirts, or, you know, or even DC shirts or hats. You know, there's a bunch of pirated stuff, but that was good. And I don't know, it's just a fun time. And my favorite part is, well, no, one of the first things is when you go there and they get all the variant covers. You think they're gonna run out somehow, but they must have a whole crowd. So when you see those, you know, the variant cover from whatever blah 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 Comic Con or Fan Expo, they must have like 2,000 of those issues there. They're not running out, and they have like, it's not like there's just 1 or 2 issues. There's like a table full of all these ones. Well, I don't know, $20 a piece maybe, but you know, I'm good for buying at least 5 or 6 out of there. So, and I just hope they got some good ones this year. I'm looking forward to see what's on those covers.
Yeah, no, same. Yeah, those are like the con exclusive covers that they have every year. And Fan Expo, this is Fan Expo Toronto, and we know that now that Fan Expo is kind of worldwide now too. And there's a bunch of Fan Expos, I think, in the States as well. It's whatever the company that runs the I think it's Chicago. I know Chicago's usually with C2E2, but I thought I just saw Chicago this past week. There's a Fan Expo going on literally right now at the time of this recording, but it's somewhere else in the States, and then they're going to be here next week for Fan Expo Toronto. So yeah, there's a few of them around, like within the North America anyways. So but yeah, I mean, you know, tips after going to cons for so many years, I would throw out there, even though I don't follow it myself very much so, is try to wear comfortable shoes if you can. If you own a pair of comfortable shoes, there's a lot of standing and walking around when you're there on the con. For God's sakes, please make sure you take a shower before you go to the con. Listen, I let's be honest. There's a lot of sweaty nerds out there, you know. You make sure you you bring hygiene first when you go to the con, because there's a lot of people you're going to be in close proximity to, whether it's going through a crowd or like just standing in a line somewhere. So just do us all a friggin' favor. I mean, that's like one of those stereotypes that I hate to put out there and then reinforce, but it's true. There's some people that aren't very good about that kind of stuff. Just in general society, don't need to put that on comic nerds specifically, but let's be honest, like make sure you do that when you go to a con, just for everyone's sake at the con. Bring cash. It does help. It does help if you're getting original art. Artist Alley is a big part of my con experience. I like getting original art. That's not been as big of my con experience in more recent years, just because like I'm almost getting priced out of the original art game, because original art goes for a lot now, even like post-pandemic, especially. Like a lot of artists charge a lot of money, especially like if they're really good artists or well-known artists in the industry. But I like to look, take a look. Sometimes they have prints or like other cheaper pieces or options sometimes that they'll be offering. So that's the big part of my con experience. So if you guys are going for that kind of thing, I think bringing cash helps, because they don't all. Once in a while, you get somebody that brings like one of those like machines with them that's loaded that you can literally just tap, but it's very few and far between. If they have an art rep there, sometimes they'll have that option, like a machine set up for themselves. But most of the time, that's not the case. So try to bring some cash with you as well. I mean, in terms of haggling, I think the best time people will say for cons, like, I'm not really one that haggle down on price. I know some people are at cons, especially at vendors. The best time to do it is usually at the end of the con. So if you're there, if the con's like a 3-4 day event, most people don't want to bring all their inventory back with them from a store. So sometimes it's good to go on the last day of the con and try to make some deals with some folks. Also, Chris, something, I was telling you even last year that I've learned by the hard way. Do a full walk of the floor and look at what everyone's offering, because there's going to be some people that are going to try to price gouge you at cons, and you'll see the same thing in a whole other vendor or another booth for like cheaper than you would, like a considerable amount sometimes than you would. Don't jump on something right away unless you know kind of the like how much something is going for or what it's worth, and you're like, I need to get that, I've been looking for that, I've looked for a while. Unless it's something like you really need, that you're like, this is something that's on my radar and you're happy with the price, don't just buy something outright. Take a walk around, take a look around, and see what all the vendors have to offer, because there's a lot of them that are going to jack up their prices for this kind of thing, that are just looking to price gouge on people that aren't aware of current pricing of comics, because we'll get the casual fans that go to these cons. I've seen, Chris, sometimes the most recent issue of like popular characters, like a Harley Quinn issue that came out like 2 weeks before, it'll be like a $4 issue. I've seen people put it out, oh yeah, look at this great cover, $20 or so, you know what I mean? Like, so I've seen that shit go down. Once I actually I got in the way of a sale by fucking telling somebody one time, and I guess that's not really great either. I've learned from that. That's not really good to do. Let them do their business. But there was one time there was some like, younger girl that was with her dad there. She's like, oh yeah, I like to look at that. I'm like, don't buy from this place. Buy from this one over there. I cost the guy a sale. I don't think he appreciated that, because he kind of heard me, I feel like, but I'm just like, don't fucking buy from this. Like, I just felt bad. I'm like, these people are just like, they're gonna get ripped off here. I just felt like, no, don't do that. Just go over there. This is a new fucking comic that came out. This guy's like clearly just trying to overcharge you for this, right? So anyways, yeah. But that's my tips and tricks of the con right there for you. I think that's some very useful information. And yeah, have a good time out there, though. I'm really looking forward to going again, and hopefully, we get to see some more sketch duels, Chris, and pick up some interesting things there as well. I agree with you, though. It wasn't really. There should be more great T-shirts there at the con. You would expect that to be the case, but that's not usually the case. They usually have they have that one big booth, it seems like, in both the buildings of our con that just has all the overprinted shit you'll see everywhere, and the quality isn't good. And it's just that's like the one spot everyone, But yeah, go out there and support your favorite artists and creators. And I'll say one more thing: if you're gonna be somebody who brings stuff to a con to get signed or whatever, know that a lot of the creators now, it's changed lately in cons. They'll usually have a rep with them, and they charge even for signatures for a lot of these guys now too. So be aware of that. I haven't liked kind of how that's gone after going to the cons for like more than 10 years now. It's definitely been, you kind of lose out on a little bit of like being able to talk to some of your favorite creators as a result of the reps being involved and them fucking making lots of money, and it's good for them. But it's just like, yeah, here, take my $5. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, here, sign this comic for you. See you later. I mean, like, it kind of loses a little bit of something, unfortunately. Like, I feel like some of these creators, depending on who it is, like, it seems more about the business than it feels about like the actual like experience now between like some of your favorite creators. But don't put them on a pedestal. You can sometimes have bad experiences with certain people too, I will say. So I just be ready for that is what I'll say. And don't bring 1,000 things to get signed. Like, don't like bring a few things you really enjoy by the creator. Don't be one of those guys that brings a whole short box of comics unless you're in the business and looking to flip. I mean, that's your business. But I never appreciated that when I went up to get one thing signed that I like by the creator. And it's like, yeah, I got a guy in front of me that has like a long box of stuff to get signed. I'm like, oh, great. So anyways, that's just my 2 cents about that. All right, Chris. But yeah, looking forward to it. It'll be a fun time. We'll talk about post-con stories next episode. Chris, what is your favorite book of the week?
Well, I did enjoy Fantastic Four. I did enjoy Transformers, but I got to give it to Trinity. That one got me this week.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it was a good one. Another good issue of Trinity. That's definitely in the running. I would say more so for me, it was Fantastic Four in the running. But I got to give it to Transformers at the end of the day this week. It was a small week. This was a clear standout winner for me. But yeah, Fantastic Four was probably the closest to winning, overtaking it this week. But I'm looking forward to the end of DWJ's run. I'm looking forward to Kirkman and more on this book, honestly.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to more. I want to see what he does with this thing. That's going to be crazy.
Same. Yeah, exactly. So, all right, there you go. Those are our favorite books of the week, guys. We'll see you next week for another episode of Comic Shop Talk. And I think we're also going to be dropping some new comic book solicitation videos, so make sure to check the feed. I think what's available out there right now, we'll be doing those. And so you might see a couple of different videos for different comic book company solicitations. So make sure to check the feed for those as well. All right, Chris, thanks as always. We'll see you guys next time. Later.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.